Listen up, because this ain't just another feel-good story. This is the kind of real-life grind tale that hits different, the kind that makes you sit back and rethink every dollar you ever wasted, every excuse you ever made, and every time you said, "I'll start tomorrow." Because this story is about a regular dude, no rich parents, no lucky break, no overnight success, just a man who made one brutal choice early in life. He chose his family over himself. Every single time, even when it hurt, even when nobody noticed, even when it looked like he was falling behind while everyone else was flexing new cars, new phones, new lifestyles. And the wild part is that the world thought he was losing. But in reality, he was stacking the one thing that actually creates millionaires: discipline built through sacrifice. See, this guy grew up in a small, cramped apartment where bills came faster than paychecks, where every month felt like a boss battle, and every dollar had a job before it even arrived. And from a young age, he watched his parents stress over rent, groceries, school fees, and medical bills. So instead of dreaming about luxury, he started dreaming about stability, about peace, about a day when his family wouldn't have to panic every time the phone rang or a bill showed up in the mailbox. And when he finally got his first job, minimum wage, long hours, zero glamour, he didn't celebrate by buying flashy stuff like his friends did. Nah, he quietly handed most of his paycheck to his mom and kept just enough to survive, telling himself, one day this sacrifice gonna mean something. And that became his routine, week after week, month after month. While his friends upgraded shoes, gadgets, and weekend parties, he upgraded responsibility. He paid school fees for his younger siblings, covered groceries when things got tight, fixed broken appliances instead of replacing them. And every time he wanted to buy something for himself, he paused, took a breath, and asked one question: is this comfort right now worth delaying my family's freedom? And almost every time, he put the money back, not because he enjoyed missing out, but because he had a bigger vision locked in his mind, a future where the people he loved wouldn't have to struggle like this forever. And let's be real, those years were rough. There were nights he scrolled social media, seeing people his age living it up, traveling, flexing, success. And for a second, it stung. It really did. He questioned himself, like, am I wasting my youth? Am I just falling behind? But then he'd look around at his family sleeping peacefully under a roof he helped protect, and that quiet pride would hit deeper than any temporary flex ever could. And without realizing it, those years of sacrifice were training him, building insane mental toughness, teaching him patience, delayed gratification, budgeting, discipline, and emotional control. The exact traits most people try to learn later in life after making expensive mistakes. But he was learning them in real time, under pressure, with real stakes. And slowly, something crazy started happening. His mindset evolved. He stopped seeing money as something to spend and started seeing it as a tool, a soldier, a seed that could grow if planted right. So instead of blowing extra cash when he finally got small raises, he started saving tiny amounts. Nothing impressive, just consistent, automatic, non-negotiable saving. And while the amounts were small, the habit was massive, because habits are what scale. Habits are what multiply. Habits are what separate dreamers from builders. And years rolled by. Responsibilities slowly got lighter as his siblings grew older and more stable. And for the first time in his life, he had a little breathing room financially. And this is where most people mess up. They finally get relief and immediately inflate their lifestyle. But not him. Nah, he was different now. Sacrifice had rewired his brain. So instead of upgrading his life instantly, he upgraded his strategy. He started learning about investing, reading late at night after long work days, watching finance videos, studying how money actually grows instead of just how it gets spent. And at first, it felt slow, almost boring, like watching paint dry. But he trusted the process because he had already spent years proving to himself that slow, consistent effort beats flashy short bursts every single time. And then came the turning point, the moment opportunity knocked, not in a loud, dramatic way, but quietly, disguised as a risky but promising business idea that most people around him ignored because it required patience, discipline, and delayed payoff. Three things he had mastered through years of sacrifice. So while others hesitated, he leaned in, calculated the risk carefully, invested a portion of his savings, and went all in with the same work ethic he used to support his family. Long hours, no excuses, steady progress. And slowly, that small move began compounding. Clients increased, income streams diversified, investments grew, and suddenly the same people who once pitied him for missing out on life started asking him for advice, wondering how he stayed so focused for so long. And he'd just smile, because they didn't see the nights he went without, the desires he postponed, the comforts he sacrificed. They only saw the results, not the years of invisible discipline that built them. And eventually, the numbers crossed milestones he once thought were impossible. Savings turned into assets, assets into investments, investments into serious wealth. And one day, he realized something surreal. The bills that once controlled his family no longer had power. The stress that once filled the house was replaced by calm, security, and options. And the most emotional moment wasn't buying something for himself. It was paying off debts for his parents, funding education for the next generation, and finally telling his family, "We're good now. You don't got to worry like before." And in that moment, all the years of sacrifice made sense. Every skipped purchase, every postponed desire, every quiet, disciplined decision stacked up and paid off bigger than any instant pleasure ever could. And here's the raw truth that hits hardest. He didn't become wealthy in spite of sacrificing his money for his family. He became wealthy because of it, because those sacrifices forged a mindset that money can't buy. A mindset that values long-term gain over short-term hype, responsibility over recklessness, patience over impulse. And once you own that mindset, wealth becomes a byproduct, not a miracle. So if you're out here feeling behind, feeling like life moving faster for everyone else, maybe you're not losing. Maybe you're just in your sacrifice season, building the discipline muscles that will carry you further than talent or luck ever could. Because real millionaires aren't just people who make big money moves. They're people who mastered small, disciplined choices when nobody was watching. And the question now isn't whether success is possible for you. It's whether you're strong enough to keep choosing discipline, keep choosing responsibility, keep choosing long-term vision, even when short-term comfort calling your name. Because one day, just like him, you'll look back and realize the sacrifices didn't shrink your life. They built the foundation that made your future unstoppable.